Let me ask a question, and Scott, again, I don't mean to catch you off guard, or you'll probably never come back to one of these things, but a question that I was asked a few weeks ago had to do with medical marijuana. My understanding is that the state passed legislation in 2000 allowing it, but there are actually no dispensaries in the state. The question that I received was that there was concern about dispensaries proliferating and actually locating in this area. If Governor Sandoval signed the medical marijuana bill that went through the state assembly. My understanding is he signed it, but what I can tell you right now is what the impact is going to be, whether people will be setting up dispensaries here or not. Do you know anything about that, Scott?
Not at this time. I don't know anything about it.
I read that they have set numbers for different counties. So like in Clark County, there can only be 40 in the whole county. So I would assume that then the county is going to have regulation over how that goes out and about in the county. Is what my assumption is. It hasn't really been said, but that's kind of what I read from it.
There hasn't been much discussion, certainly not among staff. And the call that I got regarding it is the only one that I've received so far. I can tell you that I worked in Colorado before I came here, and when I started working in Colorado, they had just legalized marijuana and dispensaries went up all over the state. Now, they've taken the one step beyond that, obviously, both Colorado and Washington. Now, it will be, or after cities have made regulations, counties made regulations legal to possess some. But in terms of access to medical marijuana in Colorado, when I was there, I could go 12 miles in either direction and find 5 dispensaries. But the impact on the state, I'm not sure at this point. I was hoping maybe somebody did. I guess we'll find out. I wouldn't expect anything to be happening very quickly. In Colorado, when the law was passed, it really took the better part of a year for local regulations to be adopted. So I would imagine that if this would be the case here, if they're going to be operating dispensaries, then it'll take some time before we really know what's going on, where they'll be, how they'll be regulated, who will be doing most of the regulation. So, yeah. Richard.
Andy, we were invited to a meeting, I think in the next 2 to 3 weeks down in Clark County. Representatives from the local entities within the county are invited to participate, but it'll be discussing this topic, how we're going to regulate them, how we're going to treat them, how many, where it's going to be, and so forth. I assume part of that discussion will be how they're treated under the zoning ordinance. Do they get classified as kind of like a tobacco shop? Are they classified as a medical office or facility? Both have different ramifications for where they're allowed. Those kinds of issues. So we'll know more in a few weeks.
I also received a question, and a follow-up question on that is, what is going to be the impact in Mesquite? Is going to be permissible here? Would it be possible for a shop to open up in the city? And at this point, I have no idea. The city that I work for in western Colorado banned it outright. They were able to do that. They can't do it since the new law has been passed, but they absolutely decided to exclude any dispensaries. But what the impact is going to be here, that I'm not sure. Whatever is going to happen, it's not going to happen quickly though. Bill, did you have anything you wanted to share with the folks, or?
Well, on that, the legislators did pass a fuel indexing piece of legislation that allows, with the approval of the Clark County Board of Commissioners, would allow them to do fuel indexing in Clark County. That's something that's been done in Washoe County for the last 7 or 8 years. What that fuel indexing does, it will allow them to increase the tax on fuel in accordance to the inflation ratio, which will actually provide more revenue for RTC. What that will mean to us in the long term is we are now in the process of acquiring funding through RTC of $2 million to do design on Exit 118. The NEPA study is 99% complete. We've got to finish that out. The $2 million will most likely be approved at the first meeting in July for engineering and design. And if the county commissioners, that's another item that's out there, the county commissioners have to approve that. if the county commissioners approve fuel indexing sometime between July and September, that would provide us the funding we would need to build exit 118. So we're estimating that cost to be about $20 million. NDOT has indicated there is absolutely no funding from NDOT for that project, so it will be funded through RTC, City Mesquite, and working with NDOT because it is their interstate network. So hopefully within the next 2 to 3 years, we would have exit 118 completed at the industrial park. I believe that would help our economic impact for things that could happen at that interchange. So another thing, we're working on an airport layout plan. We're finalizing that at the airport. We're going to be hiring a consultant to work through our 5-year capital project plan at the airport. As Richard had indicated, we're trying to get it right away for the berm on East Mesquite Boulevard. Right now, we're working with the Army Corps of Engineers. They've done not a feasibility study, but a study to say it's feasible to probably do. Now we're into the feasibility study stage. That'll take us about a year to 18 months to get the feasibility and the design done. We believe that we'll be able to work with the Army Corps of Engineers and fund that between Regional Flood Control and Army Corps of Engineers and make that project happen within the next 3 to 4 years. So a couple of big projects. Road reconstruction, we did a $1.9 million last year. We're probably going to do another $1.8 million this year. Funding for that, the $1.25 of that will come from RTC through a Senate Bill 5 funding, or Question 10 funding, I believe. So RTC is really pumping some money into some of our maintenance projects. So a lot of good things are happening.
With that, I'm going to put Nick Montoya on the spot. Nick, anything happening this summer? It's a real busy time for us in leisure services.
Yeah, the summer programs are filled up. The youth, the adults, with our summer leagues, everything's going pretty well. If you drive by and see the pool flowing with the kids, it speaks for itself. I don't know if Brian might have talked last time at the meeting, but the Flat Top Mesa project, the walking trail, is completed. People are actually using it now. That's up by the Mesquite Sports Event Complex. You just take Hardy Way and keep going that way. It's an extra, was it 3.4 something miles of walking path. That was helped with some NIPLA money through the county to help build. So that thing's going. There's people using it. Our programs are going well for the city, for the youth and seniors and adults. So if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thanks, Nick.
So, the trail, you go up Hardy Way, like you're going to the Mesquite Sports Event Complex, and you just keep going instead of taking Bertha. Well, it turns into Bertha Howe, doesn't it? Flat top. And then you just keep going straight and don't take a right to go up to the sport event complex where we have a long drive. Just stay on that road, and it's been opened up, and people are using it quite extensively. We were out there. I was out there this morning, and I drove by 8 walkers. So.
Thank you, Nick.
There's also very nice resting area at the end of that trail too, with restrooms and everything. It's been good.
Great, thanks.